Yeah, what's up guys? Lynn here doing my top 4 Extravaganza deck profile. I play Dragon Link, obviously. You know, it's the only deck apparently I can do well with. Yeah, we'll kick straight into it. I'll just do a bit of a tournament report. So, round 1 I played against Tri Brigade Zodiac. I won that one. This deck doesn't actually have that hard of a time with the Tri Brigade boards, which is actually really nice. Round 2 I lost to Drytron. That matchup's the only matchup that I'm scared of. It's actually harder here in Europe than in Australia, than it is in the US because we don't have the ruling with Cycle Reader that lets you banish too. So it's one less hand trap you can hit. I actually wouldn't play Droll almost and just play Cycle Reader if I was in that region, but it is what it is. And then round 3 I drew with Orcust. I was very unlucky and time rules happened. Round 4 I beat Speedroids. Round 5 I beat Numeron Sky Striker. Round 6 I beat Drytron. Round for top 8 I beat Dogmatica, Invoked, Shadol, Despia to time rules. Thank you. So you know they come and go. And then I lost to Infernoble in top 4. That was a close game. Yeah. So it was it was a bit of a rehash on the 2020 format, but yeah, we'll get into the deck and I'll talk about some of the things that I might change, what I liked and what I didn't like. So I've played this list for the GG Invitational as well, which is another like local, regional like thing. And I made some changes from then, so it'll be interesting. Like I'll go over the changes. So the first change was I used to play 2 Tracer, now I'm playing 3. This is just because it's the common norm in a lot of the lists that have been topping, but I personally am 50-50 on it. And on the one hand, it makes hand trapping Romulus a lot worse because you have more rockets. But on the other hand, if they hand trap Striker Dragon, it means you have less dragons to play with. Because, before, if you had rockets, you could eventually get the boot sector launch. But with Striker Dragon being at 1, it's so much harder to get back into your boot sector launch if the Striker Dragon is limited, hit, sorry. So the rockets become a lot worse because they're not always live. But Tracer is still pretty good. It is definitely one that I will test with other cards in mind. 2 Synchron, pretty standard. 1 Recharger and 1 Absorouter. Standard stuff. I was playing 2 Absorouter at the GG Invitational, but I opted for the 3rd Tracer because I bricked a little bit on Absorouter. Like I would draw it with more dragons, or I'll draw it with no rockets and it was just a dead dragon in hand. It had its pluses, but it definitely has a few disadvantages, and I think I wanted to play more than I wanted to have these type of extenders. Because Absorouter still, beside the fact it does not fix the fact if they hand trap the Striker Dragon, it can be kind of rough to keep playing because the rockets are a dead quantity in hand when you don't have boot sector launch. So yeah. And then 3 Quick Launch. This card gets you into your rockets. It's a nuts card. Then just the 1 Chamber and 2 Tiding. I was playing 3 Tiding and 2 Chamber before, but I opted to play more going second cards because I found like I'd lose the dice roll and this card become a lot worse. It is good for grinding. However, it doesn't really help you push through boards. It is good on the follow-up turns though, however. And Tiding is really nice when you're going first. And I was tempted to side the 3rd Tiding, but it would mess up my side patterns. 3 Nocto, this card is ridiculous. The Secret Effect won me a match last night. So, this card is good. The Secret Effect is the best. Redman, it's just there for when you get Nibiru'd. You need a way to quickly make Quad Barrel, 2 Chaos Dragons. This is the Chaos package is pretty standard. 3 Safer, 1 Levy, and 3 of the best cards printed. I don't know why this card was printed. Dragon Ravina Boot Sector, the engine requirements of the deck. 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Phantasme, 3 Effect Veiler, and 3 Impermanence. These are the going second cards. I don't think I'd ever cut Ash just because it's very generic and it's very good. Like, the meta is too versatile to be like, I want to play Gamma, because if you play Gamma, then you lose to random stuff like Sky Striker, Shadows. There was another deck I can't think of. Can't think of it right now. So, like, Ash has just got a little bit more versatility. Phantasme was pretty good for me, to be honest. I was scared playing it into Drytron, but it was good. It is engine at the end of the day, and it is nuts against every other deck. So, you know, it was worth taking the risk for one matchup to play good into the others. Effect Veil was pretty good. Just something you can excavate off of the top. And then I played Impermanence. It's not a card you can excavate, but at the same time, you know, Imperm is just so good. Like, it is just a card. Like, Imperming an Appaloosa, it just feels so bloody good. Or, like, Imperming when they add the orange light, for example. Like, Imperm is just being a trap card was really good again. And you can protect it with Knock Division 2. So, you know, it has a little bit more going for it than other hand traps. I am considering trying Gamma again, maybe over Ash. But I think Ash is way, way, way too versatile, to be honest. And then side deck. Yeah, I'll do side deck. So side deck was 3 Nibiru. This card came in for pretty much everything going second. Like, it's good against Drytron going second. It's great against... It's decent enough against Tri-Brigade. Like, a lot of their hands are kind of awkward into it. Like, you can force Appaloosa to gate. So, like, going on their turn, like, you can end phase Nibiru, and then, you know, they've got to be like, well, I have to Appaloosa in the gate here, and then, you know, that makes it 1,600 or 800, depending on how their combo went. Which can make it actually easier to deal with the Appaloosa, because it's one less negate and it's a lot weaker. So Nibiru is good. And then in their turn, if they revolt you can try Nibiru again to force the Appaloosa out. So Nibiru is really, really good. Lancia, it's the same thing, you know. Lancia was nuts. I didn't actually resolve it against Tri-Brigade, funnily enough. I discarded it for Chaos Space. The only thing this card did. But it is good in theory, because you can hit... Actually, no. I lied. I seen it against Orcus and I hit it off of Chaos Ruler and added it, and it like sealed the win. Like, as soon as you hit this off of Chaos Ruler, you just win against the decks comes in. Droll. Personally, I wouldn't play Droll if we were playing in the regions with the different roles. I think Cycle Reader is just as high impact that you can hit it off of Chaos Ruler. But Droll is better here because we don't have that ruling. So, and Droll's good against Dragon Link too, but that deck's not heaps popular here. And I mean, they've got like Nibiru and Lancia probably coming in if I was to play Cycle Reader, which probably decent enough. Twin Twister, this is for prank kids, Shadows, the random trap decks. This card is obviously very good. I bring it into Tri-Brigade if I think they're playing more back row than hand traps, because they do have Strike and they do have Revolt, and sometimes they might board into Floodgates. Like Imperial Order, Anti-Spell, and maybe like Summon Limit. Some people have played Summon Limit on me in the past, so you know, Twin Twister is good for that. And then Rivalry of fucking Warlords. This card was the MVP all day. I literally got to top 8 because I just rode this card to victory. I beat what did I beat with it? I think I beat Tri-Brigade with it. I think I did flip it. This and Savage into the Tri-Brigade matchup is just an auto-win condition. I beat Dogmatica, invoked Despia Shadow with this because you just force them into a position where they're not on a spellcaster, and then you flip it. So like on a Macabre, and that deck does not play trap cards, besides maybe a punishment. So you flip this into a Macabre, and then you lock them into having a Macabre, and you can play through a Macabre fairly easily. What else? Yeah, and it's actually not too bad against Drytron. It is something I did actually bring in for the second Drytron matchup when I went first. Because if they do bring in the hand traps like Phantasme and Nibiru, which do exist in side decks, it's pretty good. And if they don't actually bring those cards in, you can just do it on like a Diviner, or you can do it on a Drytron and a Diviner. Like if they go like normal summon Diviner, send like Arclight, you just flip it then, and then you're laughing. But if they send, you know, Intist and target it, you can just, you know, Knock Division protect it. So it's like, it's not the worst against that matchup. It slows that deck down a little bit, so you can actually try and play. And then they can't out it ever, and your deck just functions under it. So I think it was pretty good. This card was nuts, and I'm very glad that it was good for me. And then the extra deck, it's just Savage, Chaos Ruler, Hot Red, generic, Pisty, Striker Dragon. We used to have 5, and now we have 2. Romulus, 2 Stills, IP Masquerena. I made this less than I usually do. Still decent card though. Quad Barrel's nuts. Halk is a card that a lot of people have been cutting from the list, but I like it going into boards. Sometimes you don't have the ideal game state. Like you can go you can force things with the Halk and then do your dragon stuff. So it does have a place in the extra deck, I believe. Unicorn, Barrel Sword, Access Code Talker. These are your game finishing cards. Sometimes you go for this over this just to put damage on. Then Appaloosa. Appaloosa is probably something I would cut. It's obviously good, but I think my board's bouncing is better against like Tri-Brigade and that, and this card is only really in there for like IP into Appaloosa in the Dragon matchup. But I feel like if I'm doing that, I'm probably so far in front it doesn't matter. The thing I'd probably cut it for is Triple Burst Dragon, because that did actually come up a couple of times, and I have tested with that line, but it didn't come up. But it's something I do want to try again, for sure. But yeah, so, you know, it was a good tournament. Shout out to Dragon Slayer Salisbury for hosting a great tournament. Shout out to the boys in the bug chat for being the boys. And, you know, shout out to the Dragon Link testing group, bro. Our deck for sure. And yeah, peace out.